Before we define AI transformation, let's look at what failure actually looks like. McDonald's and IBM spent years building an AI voice ordering system for drive-thrus. It could not handle different accents or noisy environments. The partnership ended in July 2024. Taco Bell's voice AI took an order for 18,000 cups of water. Not a model problem, a system problem. And IBM Watson for Oncology, one of the most publicized AI deployments in history, never reached production at scale, despite years of investment. These were not bad models. They were incomplete systems.
And this is not 3 unlucky companies. MIT's 2025 research across more than 300 AI initiatives found that 95% of generative AI pilots produced 0 measurable business impact. Not low impact. 0. The Rand Corporation puts the broader failure rate at over 80%. Exactly twice the failure rate of regular technology projects. And in 2025, S&P Global found that 42% of companies abandoned most of their AI initiatives entirely, up from 17% the year before. So the question is not whether AI works. The question is why the systems around AI keep failing. Most companies do not fail at AI because the model is bad. They fail because the system around the model is weak. And that gap between a model and a system is exactly what AI transformation is about.
Here is the misconception I want to clear up first. Most people think AI transformation means buying AI tools, or deploying a model, or rolling out a chatbot. It is none of those. AI transformation means redesigning how work gets done, the workflow, the data, the controls, and the way you measure success, so that AI produces real business value that you can actually see. A tool is something you buy. Transformation is something you design. So why should you care, especially if you are a leader, a product manager, or an architect? Because this is where budgets quietly disappear. A company spins up an impressive demo. Everyone is excited. Then 6 months later, nothing is in production. No one's job changed, and no number on a dashboard moved. The demo worked. The transformation never happened. That pattern is common enough that it is worth understanding before you spend the money, not after. Let's define it cleanly. A model, like a large language model, is one piece of a much bigger system. Around that model, you need the data it can see, the workflow it lives inside, the guardrails that keep it safe, the humans who review the hard cases, and the metrics that tell you it's working. AI transformation is the work of building and connecting all of that, not just calling an API.
Here is the framework I'd anchor on. 5 phases. Discover. Map where AI could realistically help. The actual workflows, not the fantasy ones. Prioritize. Pick the use cases tied to a real business metric and a feasible build. Pilot. Build a small, honest version and test it against reality. Productionize. Integrate it into the workflow. Add guardrails, logging, and ownership. Scale. Expand to more teams, more use cases, more value. Now, pay attention to phase 4, productionize. That is where most AI initiatives stall. Everyone can pilot. Very few productionize. The pilot is a science project. Production is a system with owners, controls, and consequences. Why does it stall right there? Because going from pilot to production is not a bigger model. It's a harder set of questions. Who owns this? What happens when it's wrong? Where do the logs go? Who reviews the edge cases? How does it plug into the tool people already use every day? Those aren't AI questions. They're system design questions. And that's the whole point of this channel. Let's make this real with one example. Say you want an HR policy assistant. Employees ask questions like, how much parental leave do I get? And get an accurate, sourced answer instead of emailing HR. The naive version is connect a chatbot to a model, paste in some documents, done. The transformed version is a system, and that distinction is everything. Here's the system behind that assistant. A user asks a question. It hits the application, the place they already work. The orchestration layer decides what to do. It sends the question to a retriever, which searches a vector database of approved HR documents and re-ranks the best passages. Those passages go to the LLM, which writes a grounded answer, using the documents, not its imagination. Before that answer reaches the employee, it passes through guardrails, checking for sensitive data, off-policy content, and whether it's actually supported by a source. The answer comes back with a citation, and every interaction is logged and monitored, with human review for the cases the system isn't confident about. Notice the model is just one box. Every box around it is the transformation work. If you zoom out, the same system is really 5 layers stacked on top of each other. Policy, the rules and governance at the base. Data, what the system is allowed to know. Model, the reasoning engine. Application, where people actually interact with it. Human oversight, the layer that catches what the others miss. Skip any one of these layers, and you don't have transformation. You have a demo with a deadline. So, what actually goes wrong? A few repeat offenders. 1, the use case isn't tied to a real business metric, so no one can tell if it worked. 2, it's never integrated into the workflow, so people go back to the old way. 3, data leakage, because permissions weren't designed in. 4, hallucinations, because retrieval was weak or guardrails were missing. And 5, no owner. When something breaks, nobody is responsible. The good news, every one of these is predictable. You can design around them before you build, not after you've shipped. Which brings us to measurement, because transformation you can't measure is just a story. For our HR assistant, the honest metrics are time saved per query, adoption rate, escalation rate to a human, groundedness, meaning answer is actually backed by sources, and resolution time. Roll those up and you get the number leadership actually cares about, ROI. Define these on day 1. If you can't name the metric, you're not ready to build. So here's the simple test for whether something is real transformation. A demo answers a question. A transformed system answers it safely, in the workflow, with a source, logged, measured, and owned, at scale, every day. Same model, completely different outcome. Let me leave you with 5 takeaways. 1. AI transformation is a system, not a tool or a model. 2. It follows a life cycle. Discover, prioritize, pilot, productionize, scale. 3. Most efforts stall at productionize. That's where the real engineering lives. 4. The hard parts are workflow, data, guardrails, ownership, and metrics, not the model. 5. If you can't name the business metric, you're not ready to start. That is AI transformation. Not a tool, not a model, a system. Designed, governed, measured, and owned. The next video breaks down how to actually design one of these systems, from the first line of architecture to production. If that is useful to you, subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you in the next one.